Hello, and thank you for joining us once again for this week's edition of It's Your City. I'm your host, Courtney Bloomer. Today's episode is brought to you by Lone Mountain Veterinary Hospital right here in Carson City, providing the very best care for your pets in Carson City, Lone Mountain Veterinary Hospital. Our guest this week is Linda Bellegray. She is here with the Friends of the Carson City Library. She is the film chair of the 6th annual Carson City International Film Weekend. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
6 years of this now.
Yes, we're so happy we can keep this going and still have it be free to all the viewers.
This film festival brings a unique slate of films each year to Carson City that are outstanding, wonderfully put together films that people would not otherwise have the opportunity to see, and they are all free. I am so excited to hear what this year's slate of films has. I can think of a couple from the past that really stand out to me as like life-changing, so I'm really looking forward to hearing what you've put together for this year. Tell us about it.
Thank you, Courtney. We have independent films, otherwise known as indies to some people that haven't heard that, on Thursday and Friday afternoons from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
And for those of you who cannot get enough of indie films, right here in Carson City, the Tell Me You Love Me Film Festival screening is taking place at the Brewery Arts Center Ballroom on Valentine's Day. Come and see a slate of romantic films put together by filmmakers from right here in Carson City and really from across the region. These films are taking part in a film competition, and you can be there for the screening and the judging taking place on Valentine's Day. Make it a date night for you and someone you love.
On Thursday and Friday afternoons from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I would just like to read you these titles. The Anarchist Picnic, Masquepin, Wally's World, Great Basin Water is Life. Those are Thursday's titles. Friday's titles, Reina Latina, Goodbye Chinatown, Sagebrush Heathen, and this one, AI, meaning artificial intelligence. It's a ballet from New York City. So we have a huge variety of independent films, and then the international film on Thursday night is called The Band's Visit. It's an Israeli film, currently a very big hit Broadway musical. Set in Israel, an Egyptian band gets on the wrong bus and they end up in the middle of nowhere at a little Israeli small village. Of course, the peace between Egypt and Israel has just happened. They've started doing cultural exchanges. The Egyptians have nowhere to go. There are no restaurants, no hotels in this little tiny place. So the people have to put them up for a day or so because the bus doesn't come through there very much.
Right, the bus has left them there.
Yes. This film shows us, it mirrors our human emotion that crosses all sorts of borders. So it's a wonderfully endearing film. Friday evening's film is called Kaalia. It is set in the Czech Republic under the Russian occupation, but just before the Velvet Revolution, in which the Czech Republic was born and not a drop of blood was shed. Our hero is a cellist. He is paired with a young Russian boy, and they become friends, and you can see all the unpredictable things that are going to happen to this person who's basically a skirt chaser and a cello player.
All right, and
it's delightful.
And we have a clip. Let's see Kaalia.
Luca had the perfect bachelor's life, a prestigious career, and a stream of beautiful women. But he's about to make a gigantic mistake. She's Russian. She wants out of her country, And she'll pay him more money than he'll ever make for an arranged marriage. But now she's leaving town and leaving behind a little surprise. And if this most unlikely pair is going to live with each other, they must learn to meet each other halfway. And Luca will discover the one person he can't live without. Critics are giving Kaalia 4 stars and calling it a gem of a film. The Los Angeles Times is saying it's a can't-miss crowd pleaser. Academy Award winner for Best Foreign Film, Kaalia.
It looks like a great film. We don't want to miss it. Kaalia is coming on
Friday.
Friday night. But that's not the end.
Saturday's films are a little different this year, and I really want to emphasize to people that this fabulous classic from France is a film that was produced in 1986 and won Best Foreign Film. There are 2 films. You must carve out enough time to see both of them. 4 o'clock is the first film, titled Jean de Florette. A young man comes home. He and his uncle are the last 2 members of the Soubiran family. And he comes home from World War I. All he wants to do is plant flowers. Thus, Jean de Florette. He pursues this goal, and as the film unfolds, a lot of greed and egotism is shown. The second film, which is called Manon of the Spring, Manon being a girl's name, is showing the second part of that whole story, which covers 4 generations. So you must take enough time to see both films. The one at 4 o'clock, it'll be 4 to 6. And then the next one starts at 7, and it'll be 7 to 9.
So clear your afternoon on Saturday the 23rd, because there are
That's what
2
you have
films,
to do.
It really is sort of one very long film.
One long epic French film set in the south of France, absolutely beautiful, giving us a lot of insight into some of our more base human characteristics, but in the end, as the mystery unfolds, we do have redemption.
All right.
So, the music to this I want to mention is Verdi's Force of Destiny from his opera, The Force of Destiny. It is hauntingly beautiful throughout both films.
All right, so the music even continues on
Yes.
through the entire production.
Yes.
Talk a little bit, because these are French films that evening. As we mentioned, the other ones are from other countries. For folks who might be feeling a little intimidated by coming to see a French film, give us some reassurance that we're going to be able to understand what's going on.
In all of these films, the subtitles are very easy to read and give us the entire feeling of the piece. So please don't feel intimidated.
Don't feel scared or intimidated to come.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. For those who might just have their only cinema experience being, going to regular mainstream movies, this is going to offer a really emotional, in-depth film experience. And yes, there are subtitles, but the story itself really makes it worth carving out the time.
That speaks to our whole point of doing international films, showing that human emotions, human needs are the same everywhere in the world, no matter what country we've had a film from, and we have never repeated one country yet. So each time in all the 6 years we've been doing this, we've not repeated a country. So all these are fresh and new from different countries we've not shown before.
Absolutely. And the world is a big place. We can keep going on for many more years.
Yes, hope so.
The International Film Weekend is taking place February 21st through the 23rd.
Correct.
Just to recap, the indie films are going to be shown in the afternoon on Thursday and on Friday.
Correct.
What's
yes.
the location for those?
All of these wonderful films are at the Community Center on Highway 50, the same community center with new seats. They're beautiful.
Right. And we're excited to check that out.
Yes.
They've just celebrated the opening, and this is going to be one of the first events to take place there.
It will be.
All right. Most importantly, this event is free to anyone that wants to come, thanks to the diligent efforts of the Friends of the Carson City Library.
Thank you so much.
Linda Bellegray, thank you so much for the effort that you have put into bringing us this fantastic cultural opportunity, not just this year, but for the past 6 years, and thanks for being here to share it with us.
I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, and thanks to all of you for joining us again for another edition of It's Your City. This week's show was brought to you by Lone Mountain Veterinary Hospital, providing top-notch veterinary care for all of your furry four-legged friends right here in Carson City. If your business would like to sponsor a future edition of It's Your City, please contact Darla at the address shown on your screen. I'm your host, Courtney Bloomer. We'll see you next week.